Let's welcome our guest. Well, she's so cute that kittens watch videos of her while at work. Yes, kittens have jobs. Thanks again, Obama. I'm here tonight with NextGeneration.tv correspondent Michelle Fields. And he's so sharp that sword swallowers consider him their greatest challenge. It's Kurt Loder, Reason Magazine and Reason.com contributor. Portugal, he's considered a bucket. It's my repulsive sidekick, Bill Schultz. And if thoughtful commentary were a large jigsaw puzzle, it would take me several days to do him on the living room floor with my family. Sitting right next to me, Daily Beast cultural news editor, Michael Moynihan. I don't have a family.
A-Block, the lead. That's the first story.
I guess any a-hole can get a show, right, Greg?
All right, the bill is passed, but will the border last? Well, on Thursday, the Senate passed a sweeping immigration overhaul that will extend legal status to millions of undocumented immigrants while claiming to ramp up border security. But it now faces a cooler reception in the Republican-led House. The bill includes a number of steps to prevent future illegal immigration while at the same time offering a chance at citizenship to the 11 million immigrants now living here unlawfully, Michael. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham.
To those who believe the borders are broken, I agree. And this exceeded every expectation I had for border security. We have practically militarized the border. 40,000 Border Patrol agents, one every 1,000 feet, $4 billion of technology backing them up, 700 miles of fence completed.
Soothing voice there. So what happens next? For more, let's go live to Dog Scared of His Own Farts.
What'd you do?
Oh. How did...
Wait, who films that?
I don't know. Who cares? That is the greatest... Who cares about the whole immigration bill? Let's talk about the dog afraid of his own wind.
I can't tell if he's dumb or doing it on purpose.
Well, let's watch.
Oh my goodness.
What'd you do?
Oh. You know what that is? That is like discovering things for the first time. Like this is like we just saw a dog that has never encountered that before. Now will become used to it, and in a matter of months, perhaps years, it'll be second nature, and no one will care. But for now, it's like discovering.
Do you remember the first time you were on a leash?
Yes.
You heard your own fart? Do you remember that? It was last Monday.
It was.
Do you remember what you were scared of?
Yes, it was at Gibson's house. That was I didn't have a safe word, and Blue Dobbs was just standing over me, just cracking that whip.
Here's the thing
In Spanish, too, wasn't he? Yelling at you in Spanish.
I have no idea.
You gotta keep the safe word simple. You always want to do Passamaquoddy, and you forget about it halfway through, and you're on the leash for way too long.
All right. Speaking of leash, the story has gone out of my control. It's about immigration bills. Let me go to you, Moynihan. You're a libertarian. There are smart people on one side, and there's smart people on the other side. Which smart people are right and which smart people are sexy?
Then why did you start with Lindsey Graham, who is like a talking turtle and then a farting dog? It was like a great thing.
But I mean, you see, smart minds, smart conservatives are on opposite sides of this.
You know, this is not the way to do cable news. Say, everybody has a great opinion. No, there are evil people and there are good people.
Yes.
Right? No, I think that, people, of course, make the point that there are all these people illegally. They shouldn't be here. They should get in line. And I think they make this point because they don't really understand the real Byzantine complex immigration system. There is no line. Right. You can't go and wait in line to come into the United States if you want to go. So, I mean, look, there are problems with the bill. And, by the way, Lindsey Graham was saying that like it was awesome, like we have the most militarized border on the planet. Like, it's kind of scary, actually.
What he was saying, and I thought he was criticizing it.
It's the best.
It's the most militarized bill.
Do you remember Berlin? It's like that, but like there were Mexicans.
Michelle, critics like my cousin Sal says the bill offers amnesty without any real law enforcement measures. And I tend to agree that maybe Sal has a point.
Yeah, I mean, what they want is they want it to be contingent on the fact that the border is going to be secure, right? But I'm going to be a Debbie Downer and say that I really don't see the excitement in all of this because I don't think there's any way that this is going to pass the House. I think it's going to go to the House, going to be a completely different bill, and nothing is going to be accomplished.
I think that's right.
And the Republicans will be off in the wilderness, I understand, 20 years.
So
I think this is probably a great bill. If somebody would read it, they could tell us. They could let us in on the secret. I mean, a 1,200-page bill that's suddenly thrown out, and let's vote on it right away. Let's cut off debate on it. I mean, there's a whole garden of unintended consequences waiting to bloom in our face from this.
That is my feeling about this, and it goes back to my problem with anything that's comprehensive. Why do things have to be comprehensive?
Well, yeah, why can't they break it down and pass it in small parts?
Like you don't want to take a big poop. You want to take a little poop. Bill, speaking of, rumor has it that the reason why the bill got passed was due to a last-minute amendment to the bill that requires that you be dipped in a vat of hot cheese whiz and then locked in a cage with 3 hungry tigers. That's why they got everybody to agree.
Passamaquoddy! Get me out.
Bill, what are your thoughts here?
I never understood border security. In 2000, we had 1,600,000 people coming across the border. It has dwindled to 300,000. The border was and is secure.
But isn't that because our economy sucks?
Yeah, the economy started sucking in 2008, and in 2007 it was down to 850,000.
That's a good plan for immigration restrictions, is to really screw up the economy.
Exactly.
I know how to keep them out. Let's just screw everything up. And they would say, I guess, that there's a little overlap with people who criticize Obama on his performance on the economy. I just made a very good point.
Yeah, you did make a good point. It's almost like saying, hey, if you want folks from Mexico to stop coming here, make our economy more like Mexico.
Why? We should just start giving tons of money to Mexico to make their economy awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do that, right?
And then we would go to where? Canada?
Canada's awful.
Yeah, really? Anybody's banging on Canada.
They don't have TVs up there.
I wanted some thoughts on the whole naturalization thing, and the problem I couldn't get my head around was the fact that it involved so many Mexicans. So I asked the office of Paula Dean to give me a quote, and I have to tell you, it was unprintable. I can't repeat it.
How dare you? I think politicians I said this before, politicians want bodies for votes, and Americans want borders. And until we get that figured out, I don't have an answer for anybody.
And we all like cheap products.
We do.
And drugs.
Red eye.
And drugs.
All right, from borders to brides, will the marriage of gays and monogamy's days? Well, polygamists are reportedly cheering Wednesday's Supreme Court's decision striking down the Defense of Marriage Act, saying it will make plural marriage more accepted. As one tells BuzzFeed.com, is that real? No. Our very existence has been classified as criminal. And I think the government needs to now recognize that we have a right to live free as much as anyone else. And a polygamist activist adds, they do exist. I'm not a fortune teller. We didn't say you were. But it seems like if more people are accepting of gay marriage, it would follow that polygamous marriage wouldn't be criticized quite as much. The slippery slope thing. Already we're seeing more non-traditional marriages like this newlywed couple on their honeymoon.
It's physics.
I've been saying this now for 2 years. First gay marriage, now you're going to have people with birds. And now you're going to have polygamists. It's all a slippery slope. Birds and people, it's not even physically possible to consummate that kind of relationship. But nobody thinks about those things. I got to go to you, Michelle, first. Are the polygamists right? Will Americans accept polygamy as just another lifestyle choice?
I don't think so. I don't think that they will. But I am totally okay with polygamy, only for the fact that I could have 40 husbands and claim them as dependents and get tons of tax breaks, but I feel like that's the reason why government wouldn't approve of it.
Well, it's a good point. One could argue that a woman might be okay with 1/5 of me versus 100% of Bill. Because 1/5 of me, I would take you places, we'd go to exotic locations. But with Bill, 100% of Bill would be like living under a bridge. But then a man might love to have 1/5 of Michelle, Fields. versus 100% of some average whatever. So maybe that's the argument, I guess, is that 1/5 of something is better than 100% of something else.
That's not an argument.
It's not an argument.
I don't even know why I am.
That was a bunch of words.
It's a tirade.
Yeah.
Is that a tirade?
Yeah, sure.
Tirade's the name of my next child.
You know, he's on
Tirade.
MSNBC. We don't have
Okay,
it here.
all right, Michael. Why is
Yes.
my argument not making any sense? Is
Because
that the argument of polygamy? Is that it's better to have 1/5 of something successful than 100% of something not successful?
Well, I mean, it primarily doesn't make sense because I wasn't listening. I mean, it was I lost the thread a long time ago. No, the polygamy thing is nonsense, and this has been.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see that guy Brian Fisher,
Yes.
who's like the ultimate troll who has a religious show, who's like, next it's going to be cats and squirrels and stuff. And this slippery slope theory doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense because there are lots of gay people that want to get married. I know lots of gay people that want to get married. I don't know any polygamists, by the way. And maybe I'm living in the wrong state. And yes, I am thinking of one in particular. But I don't think that it's. By the way, incidentally, Michelle's wrong because it's always one man and 600 women.
Yeah.
There's never been one
and it's
woman and a bunch of men.
oftentimes minors. I feel like there's like a very negative connotation to it, and it's not out of love. It's
I just
it's almost
honestly
like
changed my
property,
mind.
and I don't think that's something that people are willing to accept.
Loader, try to be sensible with me because I know you have 14 wives.
I do.
Don't you think it's ironic that polygamists are saying the same thing that conservatives have been saying? Like what
I think
was
they're
saying?
probably not taking into consideration how much the number of prenups are going to cost. If you get 17 prenups, it costs a fortune.
Yes.
I think this is a great time to stop and consider and ask ourselves why government is in the marriage business.
True.
Why do we have the government defining what marriage is? Once the government defined marriage as between two people of the same race. So maybe we don't want these people deciding what marriage is. They should just give out certificates, and if you want to go get married, go marry whatever you want.
Yes. That, I think, is a fair point.
Well,
Bill.
it is a legal thing, too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's, people say that's just like gay marriage. I mean, it was never, it was like this sort of extra legal thing with gay marriage. It is actually a felony in a number of states, I think a majority of states, to be in a polygamous marriage. So, I mean, it's a very, very different thing.
Bill, in the Wednesday's rulings, the Supreme Court specifically said that you are not allowed to marry or procreate. This is the first time in its history the court has ever singled out one person like that.
Well, I'm a part of history, then. That's a good part. I don't understand. I actually agree with Mr. Loader about this as much as I do about his review of Man of Steel. Can't believe you didn't stop me from seeing that one. That's right. The government should not be involved in marriage. I frankly never understood why religion got involved with marriage. I know Jesus was crying after Thursday happened, but the fact of the matter is, the institution that is marriage existed 1,000 years before baby Jesus even entered this world. And even back then, it was a division of property. Turn it back to that. As a matter of fact, I would like to marry property. I love my lazy boy. I would marry my lazy boy in a second. I've already consummated.
But we're also missing a huge thing about this, and Brian, whatever his name is, Fisher, is that there is polygamy in the Old Testament. A lot of polygamy in the Old Testament. So if you're making a biblical argument, polygamy is awesome.
Michelle?
What I was saying is, ideally, yes, I'd want the government out of the business of marriage. I mean, why is it in the first place? But I feel like that's such, there's no way we're going down that road at this point.
Well, here's the problem with polygamy is contracts. What happens with, like, let's say I run a Jiffy Lube and Michael Moynihan comes in and I want to hire him and I offer health insurance, but you have 5 wives, so I have to offer health insurance to all of your wives.
What if you want to add my argument and say you wanted to marry your Jiffy Lube? Think about that. As an American, you should be able to do that, Greg.
I had a legitimate question and you ruined it with a stupid
There
joke.
was nothing legitimate about
But
it.
the government will cover all health care.
Yeah, that's true. So,
Not Jiffy Lube.
I feel like the
They have a
1%,
very good plan, though.
I feel like the 1% would have all the women. Like, the top 1%, you all wouldn't have the women. It'd be like the really, really, really wealthy 1%.
It's actually a good point.
I have to say, Michelle's being very presumptuous about my wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but I mean, it'd be like you expect like Bill Gates to have all the women.
That's true.
That's what would end up
That would
happening.
be wrong.
Yeah,
That can't be allowed to happen.
But isn't that why polygamy was because it was only a certain group of people could afford to do that? And
No, but it was actually-
not enough women for men.
Yes,
Women
and
would just want to be taken care of.
there's academic studies worries about, there's been polygamy in a lot of cultures in history, and it always, and never in democratic cultures, by the way,
Right.
and it always ends in disaster because it screws up the balance of men to women.
Yeah.
And there is actually a demographic disasters that people have documented from polygamy.
But what if the balance is already screwed up? There's no chicks in China. Maybe they'll have a reverse Big Love over there.
True?
Yeah.
No
There's
chicks in
really
China?
no chicks in
Yeah.
China.
But you
Yeah,
have
it's
to
mostly
treat
gays.
everyone
Bill's
equally
white
financially.
No chicks in
Rounding
China.
numbers. It's the name of my band.
All right, we got to move on. Can we do the next story? All right. Oh, we're going to a tease. This is the second day in a row. All right, it's coming up. Christmas. It's just 6 months away. Come back, Pablo. But first, will taxing calories cure obesity? I think we can all agree words just came out of my mouth in the form of a question.